Ty Chandler, and kudos to UNC. So I guess we're going to take a step back here for a minute. We're going to welcome in our guest for the day.
Okay, let's do it.
We got a legend on the show here. We're going to bring in number 40 from Notre Dame, legend Reggie Brooks, to the show. Let's see if we got him.
Welcome.
Hey, Reggie, how you doing today, sir?
I'm blessed and highly favored, my man.
Hey, it's good to see you. We appreciate you coming on the show, sir. First of all, just want to welcome you to Man Coverage. We're big fans of yours. I go way back with you now. I was at the Miracle at South Bend in 1991. So that was taking it way back. I think I was 10 years old when I saw that ball game. But talk to us a little bit about that. You were on a team that had Rodney Culver, that had your brother, I believe, Tony Brooks, pretty stellar backfield, and you were able to, bide your time. And once you got your chance, you never looked back and had a tremendous season in 1992. Talk to us a little bit about those days, Reggie.
Well, we had some pretty good backs. Jerome Bettis, add him to the mix. Ricky Waters. So we had some horses back there. And actually, people don't know this, but Dorsey Levens was in the same recruiting class that I was before he transferred to Georgia Tech. So we got some real studs to come through there.
Yeah, about 8 NFL players on the same backfield.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, like I said, my senior year, like I said, 92, we had 93, my rookie year, we had the all rookie backfield, was all from the same school. It was Rick Meyer, Jerome Bettis, and myself. I think that's the first, maybe only time something like this happened. So, but we couldn't have done any of what we were able to do without the offensive line and tight ends that we had, even our receivers. I mean, we had guys like Lake Dawson, Tony Smith, Irv Smith, Oscar McBride, Derek Brown. I mean, we had Aaron Taylor, who's been inducted to College Football of Fame this year. Tim Ruddy, Lindsey Knapp. So we had some squads. I said I would have liked to have some of the offensive schemes that they have now with our guys. I can imagine what we were able to do.
No doubt.
Well, look, Mr. Brooks, I'm looking at some of these accomplishments and stuff, and you were able to compete at a high level because I see you went to Booker T. Washington. And listen, I know you played with some guys there because I played with some guys at UT who wound up being some NFL guys from Booker T. Washington. So they've been producing guys for a long time, I see.
And you got McQuarters, who was dynamic DB receiver.
Right.
We had athletes. I mean, that was, like I said, Booker T, they produce athletes. And, that was one of the things that, always stuck out to me is, like I said, coming along after guys, Melvin Gillum, guys that set the tone for us, my brother, that, hey, if you're going to come out and play, you come from Booker T, if you're going to step on that field, you better have some skills because you're going to get challenged real quick.
Yeah, no doubt. And I was going to ask you about that too. Did it help you at all? Going from Tulsa and being at Booker T and then going to, Notre Dame and being in South Bend. Did that help you at all, having your brother already there kind of teaching you the ways and showing you around campus?
Well, and the thing about it, I said, I tell this story, and I said, and telling the book, I said, my recruiting visit, I love my brother. He was always there for me, but he kind of left me hanging on my recruiting visit. He was my host, and I literally saw him one time, and then I didn't see him again until I'm about to leave. So I'm still kind of salty about that. But having him there was huge for me because, going again, you're small town Tulsa, Oklahoma, and Notre Dame is not a big place, but it still has a big brand, a big name. And I'm looking at all these guys that are coming in. So from 87 to 90, Notre Dame had the consensus number one recruiting classes every year. So you're no longer a big fish. Well, like I said, the pond at Booker T was pretty big anyway. So
for sure,
I was competing. But when you're going against guys like Anthony Johnson, Chris Zorich, Michael Stonebreaker, Todd Light, Pat Terrell, I mean, guys from my senior year, of the 22 guys offensive defense start, 17 played in the league.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
you're competing, and again, you had a little uncertainty. I wasn't the biggest guy. I mean, I was fast, but back then you would need to have a little meat on your bones. And like I said, my brother fit that criteria because he was 6'2", 225, 230. So that was Coach Holtz. He was like the hammer and the nail. He likes to run the football. So I was a little nervous going in. I mean, I knew I could play. That was never a question because, again, the success I had at Booker T, kind of gave me that confidence. But it was the eye opener making that next step. But it definitely helped me going from high school to college, having come from a high school that was known for producing, top Division I talent and NFL talent. And then, going from Notre Dame to the league, it was helpful because I was so used to practicing at a high level, even from high school, that going to the pros, that was just the mentality that you had. You're going to have to work, compete, and every time you come out to practice, you're preparing for the game.
I get it. That's where Robert Meacham went.
Yes.
Yeah, he went there. But no, I definitely get that. Coming from a big school like that competition is crazy. So you're already in the mode of you're going to work for everything that you get there. You're going to earn it. Because if you don't put it all in, there's a guy behind you who's ready to take it. Yeah. So when you got to college, it was nothing new for you. And I see when you got going, it was ridiculous. I mean, 1,300 yards, averaging 8 yards a carry, 13 touchdowns. That's a way to break into college football, ain't it?
Well, that was the thing about it. Except we have a lot of, again, that backfield was loaded because you had Braxton Banks and Anthony Johnson. Were playing my freshman year. Yeah. My brother Tony, Mark Green, Ricky Waters. Rocket was there. He played in the backfield from time to time. So when I came in, so and again, that was the thing about. I mean, I came close to leaving because it was I wanted to play. That's why I wound up switching over to the defensive side of the ball just so I could get on the field and play. But the thing that really hit me is when I went back. I was thinking about leaving, transferring. I called my dad, and Pops was like, "Did you make that commitment?" And I was like, "Yes, sir." He's like, "Well, you got to figure it out, click." And this is back when our long distance was money, so he wasn't trying to spend a lot of money. He's like, "You better figure it out. You're gonna keep your butt there." And it taught me commitment and valuing your word and honoring that. And again, like I said, the guys that I played with were very helpful in helping me get through the struggles of like playing. And I really look at, today's athletes, again, it's so easy to, if something's not going quite right, to move on to the next thing versus sometimes it's important to stick it out and persevere, especially if you have that capability and that institution is going to help you, again, meet your dreams.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one thing we've talked a lot about on this show is with the, the transfer portal and all the new rules where guys can just cut it and run if they're not getting to play or if they get taken out or whatever. One thing that I remember from playing, and I didn't play anywhere close to Notre Dame, but you had to earn it, man. You had to, sometimes I had to sit and wait to get my chance to get on the field. And I felt like that's something that build character, built character in me and builds character in some of these players. And, with you, Reggie, switching over to defense and playing DB and coming back to running back, I feel like, once you got your shot, you weren't going to give it up. And I think that's something that, may be missing from today's game.
I agree completely. I mean, when I worked at Notre Dame in the athletic department, I spoke to I would always speak to the guys. And again, that said, coming out of Notre Dame and, it was funny because I heard it from a lot of guys. I did a lot of outreach to our former student athletes. So I had a great relationship with, Ross Browner, Luther Bradley, Joe Montana, some of the greats. And they always had a story of perseverance. Again, that having that struggle and that commitment to say, hey, I got to And it helped them down the road in their careers. And Jerome, like I said, JB, this dude had asthma. I mean, I don't know how many people knew that this cat had asthma and ran and competed at a high level. Man, he was so energetic. We fed off of each other's energy. I look at some of the struggles that people don't know that he had playing, and those are the things where you have to fight through some of the stress and pressures, but it's also important to have people that will fight through with you.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that, by opening yourself up, being a little more accessible, that, you're going to find that your group of friends, but there's something that, Coach Hope said, players come and go, but teammates are forever. And I know that to be true because I'm working with Hostess Heroes Foundation, and it works with a lot of guys that I've played with or played under the Hostess era that I've connected with. And just literally, I may not have seen a guy for like 10, 15 years. And immediately we see each other. There's a recognition of what you went through, what I went through, that we went through together. And we were there to hold each other up and support each other. And I always wonder, I said, do you have that in this day and age? Because, guys leave a lot earlier. It's hard to, find the time to create those relationships that define your life, post playing. And, I wonder how these guys, if they're able to do it, and if they're not, why not?
Yeah.
That's good stuff right there.
I'm with you. And Reggie, I wanted to ask you a little bit, jumping forward. The Irish had a big victory yesterday, and they're 8-1 now, and obviously you stay pretty close to that program, and I just feel like a lot of their success this year is coupled with that running game and with Kyron Williams, and I really like this young man. I think he's he's got that really, he reminds me a little bit of you with that low center of gravity. He's got that burst. And yesterday he brought it, 17 carries, 95 yards, and 2 touchdowns. What have you seen out of Kyron, and what do you think the ceiling is for this kid?
And I saw this, I was talking to Archery Denson, who kind of before Archery left, recruited Kyron. His explosiveness and his ability to really work in in tight spaces, and then having that burst. But the thing that gets me is his pass protection. I mean, this is a passing, the game is about passing. I've seen this little fella just come up and just drop the hammer on some big linebackers, and I'm like, dude. So I give deference to him because I didn't have. I mean, I managed to hold my own, but this young man, he has the full package, and then his ability to catch the ball out of the backfield. You can line him up in so many different ways. He's a mismatch from the word go. And the guy that I would equate him to for me is Marshall Faulk. Because Marshall Faulk to me was again 92, he was sophomore. That's who should have won the Heisman Trophy that year. Yeah. I mean, this cat was like, I mean, you look at him, he returns kicks, he return punts, and Kyron's doing the same thing in his run out of the backfield catching. Marshall Faulk his football IQ was one of the best that I've ever been around, and his ability to line up in the slot, line up out wide, and run legitimate routes. Then you have his ability to come out the backfield and work in spaces, and just boom, quick in the vision. I always look at the thing that people talk about. Quick feet, explosiveness, and speed, but one of the main things that you have to have for a running back is vision. Yeah. If your peripheral vision is not there, you're going to take some shots that you shouldn't take. And this kid, he has great vision, the explosiveness, and his strength. Because I'm going to tell you right now, this offensive line has struggled more than any other offensive line I've seen at Notre Dame in a while. And this kid he has to work so hard to get a yard. Yeah. And he's doing it. So I cannot give him enough superlatives of how good he is, and he continues to get better. So, at that next level, he's a great fit for any offense just because He can run the RPO game. He's great. He counter power. He can do it all because he has that vision, the speed, and the power. Even being that small, to be that aggressive and successful at what he does. I love watching. I mean, I make tune him in, whether it's Peacock or NBC, away games. I look forward to. I pay to watch this cat play.
Okay. Well, I'm about to watch more Notre Dame because you throwing out Marshall Faulk is.
I'm telling you, you look at this. That's why again, I don't blow smoke up people's behind.
Yeah.
This cat is he's that good.
Okay.
And if you just watch how, because our offensive lines were so dominant. If somebody split the double team, it was hell to pay.
Yeah.
So with me, Jerome, we always set that second line of scrimmage or that new line of scrimmage, so we press the hold and go. I don't know how many times I've seen this guy, have to stop in the backfield, redirect, and get around guys and just making moves. And it's just he's working so hard. Now, last year, I think this is his best year in terms of he may not have the numbers that he had last year in terms of yardage and yards per carry. But last year, he had a really good offensive line. This year, he's putting in a lot of work just to get to the line of scrimmage.
I got you. So moving forward, anything on the schedule? I think y'all should be worried about. What about UVA this coming weekend?
I would be shocked. And that's why I said, people talk, kind of throw out there about Notre Dame getting back into the mix for the college football playoff. I can't see it just because, they basically told Cincinnati, you're not going to get a sniff of the CFP with where they placed them and how they've, like the two games they had coming up that they could have done something with Houston and SMU, they didn't even rank them. So, and you got two teams in there that at the time had 3 losses apiece, and they were in the top 25. So I just think with the loss to Cincinnati and how they're viewing Cincinnati from a CFP standpoint, I think like after this week, I think we may get back up to like 8. But I think that set between 6 and 8 is going to be our ceiling, just because we don't have anybody left to play.
Right.
We got Virginia, Georgia Tech, and Stanford.
Yeah.
And none of those have good records.
Yeah, and then with this year, being the independent, they're not competing for the ACC championship, and I feel like that's something that hurts them. I mean, if they were still associated with the ACC and maybe won the ACC conference championship, I feel like that's something that might be able to help their chances. What do you think about that, Reggie?
If we're playing like last year's ACC team, we'd win the ACC this year.
Yeah,
and we'd be in a lot better place. But I'm and this is not nostalgic or anything. I just think because of how Notre Dame, from a branding standpoint, we would actually, it would be a detriment for us to join a conference. And I know a lot of people think we should, because we'd make more money. Notre Dame would make more money join a conference like a Big Ten or ACC. And this is, I think, Notre Dame doesn't get the same, allotment of money from the ACC because it's not a member. Right. But you look at the ability to play a national schedule. That's what Notre Dame is about. That's the history of the institution. The athletic department is the barnstorming aspect of it, so you can play around the country. And that's what I talked about. I talked about in the book. I'm from Tulsa, Oklahoma. My first game is in Giant Stadium, against Virginia at the Kickoff Classic. I'm playing in a pro stadium. My first game in college in New York. So just the to have that opportunity, and to travel all over the country, man, that was amazing to me because I very seldom left the state of Oklahoma. I didn't start leaving Oklahoma until I start going running track, but also until I start getting recruited.
Yeah.
Right. I got you. Makes sense.
And then they're playing, these some of these Shamrock Series games. They're traveling over to Dublin, Ireland, and playing over there. So I think it's pretty cool. Just the brand of Notre Dame football going all over the place. It's a national brand. So I do understand that. So you got to tell us before we let you go, Reggie, how did you become a writer? How did the book thing come about? Tell us about the book and tell us why you decided to do it and what's all in it.
Well, I'm saying, I mean, again, originally I don't have the time to do this, and then the pandemic hit,
Yeah.
and I found myself with time because we didn't have any fans, and a lot of my role was geared towards reaching out to former athletes and getting them back to campus, keeping them engaged. So when we were not allowed to have fans, we actually had a StreamYard deal we did with former players that I've helped manage, but I had a lot more time. And then when they approached me, Triumph Books, about the series, they said, "Hey, we'll connect you with John Heisler." So John Heisler was a SID for Notre Dame for forever, if you ask me. And Heis is the impetus of why I said, "Okay, I'll be willing to do this," because it was someone that I know, someone that was familiar with my time at Notre Dame and can understand kind of and help me to interpret the stories that you'll read in there. And it's not just about stories about my time at Notre Dame. A lot of it is, but it's also about my time as a administrator, as an employee of Notre Dame, because I had a relationship with a lot of the current guys, current teams, and the experiences, and then the commonality, because I tell stories about my relationship with guys from the past, from the '88 team, '66 national championship team, '77. So, and then also from the 2012 team, and it's seeing those commonalities of success at Notre Dame, because it's a different place. It's not for everybody, and to be successful there, you have to work. You have to work extremely hard off the field as well as on the field, and you have to have a mentality of, hey, no matter what, I'm going to get it done. And I saw that through the years of my relationship with even like a Johnny Lujak or John Hewart, Heisman Trophy winners, the same mentality of, if I'm going to be successful here, you have to engage and be a part of that Notre Dame community just outside of athletics. You can't just be an athlete there. You have to be a part of that community if you're going to succeed, because it's just all encompassing.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, we're going to have to all check that out. And Reggie, we really appreciate you coming on today and giving us a few minutes, as I've always been a big fan, and we love talking to you.
For sure. Thanks so much for coming.
Something, Nate. You have this Eagles jersey on.
Yeah.
Talk to me here now.
You're
Knoxville.
Hey, I got a little side business where I buy and sell game-worn jerseys. This is actually Brad Smith, former quarterback of Missouri. Yeah. So I wear a different game-worn jersey every show.
Okay, because I have issue with the Eagles fans.
I got no love for the Eagles.
Okay,
I got no love for the Eagles.
We cool then, Nate. We cool right now. We're all right. Because they had the worst fans ever. My brother played for the Eagles. Okay. And we play them twice a year. They were trying to go after my mom and dad because I can't at the home field. So they used his seats. The families of the players have good seats.
Yeah.
They were throwing stuff with my parents, dude.
Oh, I believe
they're ruthless. They're ruthless.
They outrageous.
Philadelphia, man. Reggie, I worked for Fox Sports Net in Philadelphia, but being from Tennessee, I went to a Titans game when they played the Eagles, and El Del Greco kicked a 53-yarder to win, and I went up and was like, woo, and cheering, and all of a sudden some guy pushed me down 3 flights of stairs.
No.
So, I've had my experience.
They had a jail in their stadium. That's how bad it was. They had a jailhouse that they had to take people to jail.
Yeah, veterans. This was the last year at Veterans Stadium.
Wow.
And man, I didn't. I took my blue off real quick as I was walking out of the stadium because I didn't want to get killed.
You gotta wear neutral colors, our Eagles colors. Don't come in there with the opposing team. Do not do that.
Yeah, no. I just love game-worn jerseys because they're pieces of history. And this is the one that was chose for today by my dog.
We are right now. Okay. For a minute there, I was kind of looking at this like, really?
No. I'll rock the Redskins next week in your honor. Okay.
Right. Good looking out.
All right, Reggie. Thank you so much, man. We
Thanks.
love you.
All right,
We'll have you back on soon, hopefully. Okay.
Okay.
All
Later.
right, bye. Have a good one.